What's up, guys? It's Naval. I know it's been a little bit, but I'm glad to come back. Typically, I talk about Dragon Ball or Star Wars on this channel, but I'd like to give a little bit of focus to Marvel. To be more specific, how Marvel stacks up against Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is often considered one of the gold standards for power scaling, but it's not the only verse out there, and it's not even one of the strongest. So let's put guys like Goku, Frieza, Piccolo, Broly, Vegeta all in the Marvel universe and really see how well they would do, or vice versa. To start off, I think it's important to clarify that I'm using the main Dragon Ball timeline, not counting extended stuff like the movies that aren't canon, or the video games, or Xenoverse, whatever. It might seem a little unfair because I don't really consider comic retcons that much, but this is because there's so many different writers and so many different retcons in Marvel Comics that it's kinda hard to pinpoint what is real and what isn't. In fact, there's so many characters who will have entire storylines changed or retconned into being a different thing than we thought they were, that often it's a trope in comics for it to be revealed that it wasn't a character we thought it was the entire time, and it was actually a different character or a scroll or something, some sort of shapeshifter, playing that character and doing all these feats. So for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna pretend that comics make sense. I assume if you're watching this video, you probably have a decent grasp on how strong Dragon Ball is, but I'll still go over it briefly just to show. It's pretty well accepted that a power level of 180 is enough to blow up the moon, if not a planet. This is shown from Master Roshi blowing up a moon in like the second arc of Dragon Ball, and characters in that power level range quickly become fodder. For example, in the Red Ribbon Army saga, Tao Pai Pai was able to beat up the main character Goku, but later he's losing to side characters like Tien. By the end of the original Dragon Ball, characters like Piccolo and Goku think they're strong enough to take on an army of the main cast. The main cast including a bunch of people who are planet busters, also including God, who had no difficulty taking care of an opponent on the level of the devil. This is quickly surpassed by the anime continuity version of Dragon Ball Z, by Garlic Jr. creating a hyperspace, and if you don't know what a hyperspace is, it's basically defined by being more than three-dimensional. So we already have fourth-dimensional beings, but in each arc, Dragon Ball characters grow exponentially in strength. It's very debatable where the average Dragon Ball character currently scales, but I think it's very fair and safe to say that any relevant Dragon Ball character is at least above Universal. Most people kinda just accept that Goku is around multiversal, but what does this mean for Marvel? Before we get into the actual destruction of the Dark Dimension, let's talk about one of the most confusing Hulk feats of all time. In this issue, Hulk fights a guy called the Dark Crawler, and the Dark Crawler occupies a place called the Dark Dimension. The problem with this is that there's another Dark Dimension, and we're not sure if the Dark Crawler's Dark Dimension is or is not this Dark Dimension. It's hard to say because on most platforms where you can get information about the Dark Crawler, it's referred to as a different Dark Dimension. Even by Stan Lee himself, it's referred to as a universe. But when you search for this guy on the Marvel database website, the only link for his base of operations leads you to the actual Dark Dimension and not his personal Dark Dimension. The reason this makes the scaling confusing is because Hulk destroyed this Dark Dimension. This majorly changes the scaling because if Hulk destroyed the Dark Dimension even back then, that would make him high hyperversal even before World War Hulk and all these important storylines. But either way, Hulk is a beast. Hulk has brawled with heavyweights like Sentry, The Thing, who has one-shot the Silver Surfer before, been portrayed as an equal to Thor and even caught his all-powerful hammer. A really angry Hulk can easily take down Black Bolt. So yeah, Marvel's heavyweights alone could give the main cast of Dragon Ball a run for their money, but even main characters who have boundless arguments shit their pants at at some of the gods in the Marvel Universe. Pre-retcon Beyonder was on the goat shit like Michael Jordan and LeBron James had a baby. The Beyonder is so powerful that a top tier like Molecule Man compares the gap of him and Beyonder to the gap of him and Captain America. To put that into perspective, Molecule Man is presented as the second strongest character in this entire crossover. Other gods just straight up say that they transcend time and space, and even lower level gods like the Skyfather's Odin say that they are omnipotent and all-powerful. If you really want to get into semantics and be goofy, you could just argue that almost everyone in Marvel is just a different layer into boundless power. But yeah, that's probably gonna do it for this video. I hope it kind of put into perspective the true gap in power between Dragon Ball and Marvel. Thanks for watching, and as always, bye!